I'm just really, really exhausted. First off, let me say to that jerk that left me the nasty comment, I'm controlling myself from cursing. Yeah, so you called me a 60-year-old whiny person who doesn't know how to deal with life. So the way that you deal with life is that you don't even have a picture of yourself, which shows you're a coward, and you leave nasty comments when you're hiding behind your computer. So that's how you deal with life, by being a coward. To all my friends, I want to say thank you for being supportive, because um, this has just been one heck of a year. You know, I usually, I think when I first started out, I just tried to be positive, positive. I tried not to talk about my personal problems. But then, sometimes I told you about personal things, and I share because I sometimes need to get things off my chest. After I did that video, oh my goodness, it was like this weight was lifted off of me, and I was able to move forward, and I was really starting to get into a good place. So I go to see the hand specialist, and she says, he says that Stephanie's hand is not healing properly, and that she has dead skin. It's still infected, and it needs to be removed. And he needed to do this right away because he doesn't want that to spread. And he said the only day that he could do it was Christmas Eve, because he was booked for Friday. He couldn't do it Christmas Day, and that it needed to be done right away. I did not want to spend Christmas Eve. I told him that. And he said, well, he usually does 4 surgeries a day. He does all his surgeries in the morning. And that he was going to go and see if he can get a slot for her in the hospital, to remove all that dead skin and all the infection. And I did not want to do this, but Stephanie was dying to get this stuff off of her hand. She's all the oozing. She wanted all the oozing to stop, wanted all that infection out. And so, reluctantly, I agreed. Since it was being done in the morning, I figured that I would be home around, maybe, early afternoon or something. I did not want to spend all day there, but he was insistent that this needed to get done. And when I said I wanted to, speak to maybe another hand doctor, and he said that the thing is that I'm gonna have to look for someone who took her insurance. I was already on the phone the day before trying to find someone who took her insurance, and no one, or that Friday before, no one would. So this is why I agreed to go all the way up to Timbuktu. It was like a 35-40 minute drive going up there. It was like a 8-lane highway. The traffic was really bad. It was an industrial area. I don't even know why there's a hospital there. It was just very stressful drive, once to get to the doctor. So I was like, I don't want to have to come back tomorrow until next week. But when he said, well, you're going to have to find another doctor that takes your insurance. So, but he said it in an arrogant way, and that kind of got me mad. Like, like good luck type of attitude. But I said, okay, fine, just let me know if you have a slot for her tomorrow. And, and I'll call my husband and, talk to him about it. So instead of him coming back to talk to me, I guess his assistant came back and said, be in the hospital by 8. He'll probably get to her surgery by 12. But, expect to be there at least 4 hours, because, you got to give her the time to, to come out of the anesthesia and be checked out and all this stuff. So, I'm expecting crap. I'm going to be there till 4. But, Stephanie really wanted this done. And, I was hoping that I wouldn't, that maybe I'd be home by 2, I get up 8 o'clock the next morning, go to the on my way, and I get a call saying somebody canceled, which good for them, and that I was bumped up So I was within the schedule. It wasn't like they were squeezing me in and that I would be seen at 10 o'clock. When I get there, they were saying that she was, at first the doctor told me the day before she would just be sedated, but when I got there, they said it's going to have to be full-on anesthesia. And I remember getting those tubes on my throat, and I'm like, I don't want her to go through that. But, they explained to me that sedation she could wake up from, and anesthesia she won't. And she was not allowed to eat for, since midnight. She had went to bed around 9:30, 10. So she hadn't eaten in a long time, and she couldn't take her anxiety pills, So I said, no, okay, fine. And Stephanie was it's okay, mommy, I don't mind. But, I've been there. I knew it wasn't the best experience. But, so the anesthesiologist, came in, and it was about 10 o'clock, and they took it as soon as we registered. We were there at 8, registered her. They took us within half an hour to put her in the prep room. After she got prepped, they took us within maybe an hour. And so, it's 9:30. I'm thinking they're going to take her at 10. Like they said, they bumped her up and that they would take her at 10. And the doctor, shows up and says, I have one more before you. I just wanted to make sure this, that, and the other thing. And, and I was like, oh, okay. So I said, okay. But this is at 11, and he's like, but you're next. And I'm like, okay. 12:30 comes. I have not seen anybody, and sometimes a lot of thing that gets me mad is that sometimes the medical profession have attitudes. And I honestly think they didn't want to be there either. There were nurses in there, and I was asking. They were starting to take other people ahead of her, and I'm like, what's going on? I thought she was next. And sometimes they have an attitude like, oh well, I don't work with your doctor, and I mean they were kind of being insensitive, and because I was trying to find out what's going on, they're giving me like dirty looks, and I was like, what is going on, So one nurse said, look, I will try to find out what's going on, but you're going to be here a long time. I'm like, what? They told me they were going to do a study at 10. They said, well, I'll try to find out something. And so we're waiting and waiting. And so she says to me, look, he's still working on patient number 2. I said, but I saw them wheel in patient number 3. I don't get it. We're supposed to be number 4. I don't get it. And then somebody took 5 ahead of us. I know it's another doctor, but what's going on? So, she said he's still working on it too. It's going to be a few hours. I'm like, what's going on? Because my daughter's surgery would have been, quick. So I'm like, what is going on? And then, so it's 1 o'clock, and the doctor comes in, and I saw him, and I said, so what's going on? He's like, oh, as expected. I'm like, as expected? I said, are you good to go? He's like, yeah. 1:30, nothing. And so the nurse, they explained to me, somebody comes in. I don't know who I thought it was another doctor. Somebody comes in and says, look, we couldn't bump her up, even though her surgery was only going to take 30 minutes. He's in all the other surgeries were going to take over an hour. And he was trying to give me an explanation as to why I couldn't bump her up. I said, look, we were told we were bumped up. I'm going to assume number 5 canceled today. We were told we were going to be seen by 10. And it is going on 2 o'clock. And all day long. Puerto Rican women can't hear this. Puerto Rican women, if someone comes to the house, they feed them. It doesn't matter if you just had dinner. If someone comes to the house, you've got, if it's not for dinner, it's cheese and crackers. I mean, you have food on hand when you invite people over. And so you cannot hear your children say they're hungry. You can't. It's just mental torture. And all I kept hearing my daughter saying all day is that she's hungry, she's hungry, she's hungry. I was so mad. Finally, I went to the nurse. One of the staff nurses that were in the pre-op room were wonderful, but the nurses that were going in and out had attitudes. I think they didn't want to be there either. I heard them say that they wanted to go home. They're giving me dirty looks as I'm asking people what's going on. I think they were taking like a 15-minute break. And I was like, look, I was thinking, and the doctor probably needs to take lunch, and I was thinking, I got mad. I said he should have taken her. If hers is only 30 minutes, should have taken her and let us, get this over with and go home. I told him I didn't want to be here. He told me this was going to be done in the morning. Then my son my son suffers from depression. I already told you last week. He's home all alone, and he's sitting by himself. It's Christmas Eve, and he's depressed thinking about Sonny. So he's a mess. Being home alone, Christmas Eve, depressed. This is not what I wanted for Christmas Eve. This is not what I wanted for my first Christmas here. So that's hurting me. That my son is home depressed, thinking about the dog, and we're not here with him. And listening to my daughter say, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. Finally, the nurses that were in the prep room were like the sweetest people, came and they said, look, what we can do for you, because you can't eat, and she had the anxiety issues, they said is we can set you up with an IV, and that will at least feed your body some nourishment. It should help with at least the thirst. And so they set her up, and we're waiting. It's 2 o'clock, 2:30. When the doctor who had come at, I think he came at about like 1:30 or 2, telling me that he's going to be there for a few hours with the other one, and that, he didn't know that we were told we would be seen in the morning, or that we were bumped up to 10 o'clock. And I was like, but who gave him the call? Is he a doctor over the other guy? So I don't know what's happening. So my husband's, getting upset. I'm like, stressed out because my daughter's starving, and she's sitting there waiting. She hasn't had any of her mental health, her pills. And so come about 2:45, they go and he comes in, the same guy comes in and says, okay, we're ready for her. It was like 2:45. It might take an hour at most, but I will call you and give you updates. So I get a call, and I don't think I noticed the phone, the bars, there weren't a lot of bars on the phone, and so I get a call, and I could barely hear what they were saying, but he said, I just want to tell you Stephanie went under, she's doing fine, we're getting started. That was, at about 3-ish. And so finally, I'm getting these really bad headaches. My body's aching because we were going from room to room carrying all this stuff. Plus we had our, it was really cold that day, so we had our coats or sweaters. My husband had his lunch. I really couldn't eat because my stomach was in knots, but we were carrying all these bags. We were carrying her bag. So my body's aching. So we finally go into the cafeteria, sit down, we eat. And about exactly half an hour later, we get a call. And this guy said, I'm calling. It was must have been a private phone because there was no caller ID. And I said, I said, hello, this is the nurse. And then I said, the nurse? I thought he was a doctor. But no. The guy who called me, who took her out and made the call and called me to tell me she went under, he was just a nurse. I'm thinking, why does a nurse get to tell a doctor what to do? What is going on? But I think one of the ones I recognized his voice, one of the ones that were giving me dirty looks, calls me, said, I'm calling you about stuff. And I said, wait, I can't hear you. Wait, I went to put the volume up. He hung up on me. So I'm like, Steve, I think she's ready. Let's just go upstairs. And it was all the way on the other side of the hospital. I'm like trying to anxiously get upstairs. So I get upstairs and there's nobody in the registration room. I'm ready to have a heart attack. Everybody went home because everybody wanted to go home for Christmas Eve. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And then I said, hello, and this little short, I guess, nurse pops up from behind the thing and says, from behind the counter and says, nobody's here. We're supposed to be closed, but you could dial this number and it takes you to the nurse's station. I'm like, thank God. I was ready to have a heart attack. I'm like, what the heck, So then, because I had no way of calling them back, there was no caller ID, so when I get through, they said, we just want, Stephanie's doing fine, we're feeding her. I'm like, oh, nice, that's good, because she was starving. Just let me finish up this paperwork and I'll come and get you. I said, oh, okay, good. Because I think it was like maybe, if it was more than 30 minutes, it was something like 45, but right now it's 3:30. It was 3:30, they said, we'll come get you in half an hour. So we were waiting in the registration room. It's a waiting room. We're just waiting, watching, TV, waiting for them. I'm just anxious to see my daughter. I'm anxious to get home to my child. I am exhausted. My body, all the aches started setting in. And come 4 o'clock, or come 4 o'clock, they still didn't come get me. So I waited till like 4 or 5, and I said, look, you guys said you want to get me at 4 o'clock. and it's after 4. I'm really anxious to see my daughter. And then I think she said, so they said that they were coming, give them 10 more minutes, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So they come to get me, and when I go into the room, they weren't feeding. She was eating crackers. Her hand, it looks like it's like a cast type of thing. And she said, has the doctor spoken to you? Because the doctor's supposed to come and talk to you post-op. No. Where is he? He left. It was like a ghost town in there. She was the only nurse there, and there was only one other patient besides Stephanie. I was like so mad. And she said, well, if anything happens, make sure you call the clinic where the doctor. I said, the doctor where the clinic works is closed until Monday. Well, they set you up with an appointment. They want me to go back New Year's Eve to do a skin graft. And she says, are you sure the doctor didn't talk to you? I said, no, somebody called me and hung up on me. That's what they did. But they said the doctor talked to her. I said, he did not talk to me. And nobody was there to talk to me about what they did and what to expect. So she just said, well, look, here's something. She gave me some paperwork. This is, instructions, and then hands me prescriptions for pain and antibiotics. And I told the doctor that the regular antibiotics wasn't working, that they were giving me something stronger. And I could see in the prescription, he erased the stronger antibiotic and put her down for the one that didn't work on her. But he wasn't there to correct it. So she kept saying, he was supposed to talk to her. I said, well, he didn't. Whoever called me hung up on me. So she's like, okay, by this time, we are exhausted. I want to get home to my son. It's after 4 o'clock. The hospital was a ghost town. Everyone went home for Christmas Eve. It's just one nurse was there, and one patient, and one security guard. And so I think there was another nurse roaming around. And so I get the prescriptions. We they tell us we have to bring the car to the front. I mean, this place, the traffic was really bad. It was like if you make one more wrong turn, you're going to be going in circles. And so it took us a little bit to understand how to get to her without leaving the hospital, the parking lot. And I'm just anxious to see her. And so we finally, they explained to us how to get around. And people were trying to say follow the arrows. There were no arrows. And so finally someone just said there is a turning lane before you go out of the hospital parking lot, and that will take you to the front. And as soon as we got there, she was wheeled out, thank God. I was like, oh, I don't want her to be waiting there, blah, blah, blah. And she gets in the car, and she's like, Mom, I'm starving. It took us like 35 minutes for us to get home. We came to get my son. He said he did some cleaning while he was home. He did a little bit. So I pretty much came home to a pile high of dishes. The floor wasn't, if it was fully vacuumed, the dog made a mess when I got back. He cleaned up the kitchen a little bit, but really not the way I wanted to spend my Christmas. I was so exhausted, and she said she wanted a whole bucket of chicken. We went to Kentucky Fried Chicken, got the biggest bucket they had, the biggest meal they had, so she could just stuff her face. And then came the tedious task of getting her prescriptions filled, because the stupid doctor, he went home to his family and he didn't fill out the prescription. He didn't put her name on it, and they would not fill out her prescription. They wouldn't give me her prescription because it wasn't filled out properly. And there was no way I was driving all the way back up 40 minutes up to this place. So I just got so frustrated. And then Christmas Eve, most places are closed. I'm trying to find a pharmacy that will take it. And I said, you know what? I'm just putting her name down myself. I have all the proof. I have all the medical discharge papers. I have all the proof that this is for her. I just filled in her name myself. And pharmacies did not have the prescriptions that she needed. They wouldn't get them until January. I mean, this is what I was going through. Pharmacies were closed. We had to drive all the way out, like 15 minutes out, 20 minutes out. Like the 5th pharmacy I went to, 24-hour pharmacy, they They had what she needed. They said this will be ready in 15 minutes. I said, please don't let this be the 15 minutes to take an hour. Like the last time they said it was going to be hours, 2 hours. But no, you know, it was done exactly 15 minutes. Finally, we were able to go home. That was my Christmas Eve. So we just chilled out on Christmas. We went to go see The Hobbit. We went to go to, you know, whatever restaurant was open. There's no way I was cooking. And we went to Golden Corral. And because we had not eaten the day before, we stuffed our faces. I've been off my diet since Thanksgiving. This whole mess has been happening. I've just been eating whatever. I still try to control myself. My body isn't used to a lot of sugar, so I don't eat as much. But I've just been stuffing my. You can see it on my face that I gained weight. I'm just exhausted, and I really, really, really hope that you guys have a a very happy new year. I'm not sure what's gonna happen next Friday, but next Friday will be January. So my husband doesn't have off, so most likely I'll do a video. So yeah, I just want to tell you guys again, thank you so much for your support. Most of you guys are very supportive and understanding. And I'm sorry if I do. Like this guy complained about me that I need to grow up or learn how to deal with life, is what he said. Sorry. To me, I need to get things off my chest. And if something's really, really bothering me, you know that I will let you know. And maybe it'll help other people who may be going through these things too. One of the things I wanted to add about that, one thing I realized, I didn't call my video last week the worst Thanksgiving ever, because I realized things could be a lot worse. I wasn't homeless. I could have been homeless this year. We could have had no money for food this year. And I realized that things could be worse. I was just really stressed out. The stuff that happened that week was just ridiculous. It was avoidable. And it was frustrating. And it was a stupid Thanksgiving for me. I was sad that I couldn't spend it with the extended family. And so I know that things could be worse, And so I didn't call it the worst Thanksgiving ever. And what I'm going through right now with my daughter, that she's going to have to go back for, they want to go back New Year's Eve. When I see the doctor on Monday, I'm going to give them a talking to. Because I told them, because when they were scheduling me, telling me they want me to come back for New Year's Eve, I told them, I said, unless I'm first on the schedule, I'm not coming back New Year's Eve. I think they were just trying to get in, like, the money, as much money as they can before the year ends for the hospital. But I did it for my daughter because she just was tired of oozing. She wants to heal as quickly as possible. She can't draw. She can't write. She can't do anything. So I just wanted, need to express things, let it out. And as I let it out, I can let it go and move on, So, I know I don't talk about bad things every video, just as they occur. And just want to, again, thank all of you people who just listen, who support me, who give me words of encouragement, who are understanding. I want to say thank you, because 99% of you are really nice. And the jerk that said those things to me, he was reported and blocked. So anyway, have a very, 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 very happy new year, and hopefully I'll see you next Friday. Mwah.